So today might be one of the most infuriating days in UFC history. If you don't know, last Friday it came out that the Nevada State Athletic Commission, or the NSAC better said, is withholding the purses of Diego Lopes and Arman Tsarukyan for what they did at UFC 300, meaning they are not getting paid for their fights that they won. And I think it's pretty safe to say that I am shocked by this news. I am beyond upset. And the reason why I'm so tilted by this is because it doesn't make a lot of sense in the case of Diego Lopes. It does make more sense for the case of Arman Tsarukyan if you know what happened. I'll get into it later. But for Diego Lopes, it's really unjustifiable what the NSAC is doing to him. Now, let me make one thing really clear here. This is not a punishment coming from the UFC. This is coming from the Nevada State Athletic Commission, which is their own sort of promotion. They are the ones who regulate the fights. They're the ones who I believe hire the judges, who hire the referees. It's not the UFC punishing Diego Lopes and Tsarukyan here. It is coming from NSAC. So this is not a UFC problem. This is not the UFC's rules. This is the NSAC rules, and they're the ones enforcing this upon these two fighters. Now, with that being said, let's dive right into what Arman Tsarukyan and Diego Lopes did that managed to upset the Nevada State Athletic Commission. So in the case of Arman Tsarukyan, I'm going to pick him first because his is a bit more justifiable than Diego Lopes. But Arman Tsarukyan, what he did wrong that pissed off NSAC was he was walking out to the cage to fight Charles Oliveira, and mid-walkout, he turned to a fan who was flipping him off and proceeded to give him the biggest, meatiest right hook you've ever seen, KOing him out on the floor. The guy was seizing on the ground, out cold, and had to be helicopter airlifted to the nearest hospital where he is in a serious coma right now. By the way, I'm just kidding. You couldn't even see if the punch even landed on the fan in the video. So it's unknown if he even hit the fan, but nevertheless, he did attempt to punch a fan in the face mid-walkout, which is honestly, I think kind of based. I ain't gonna lie, like it doesn't really affect me that much, but I do understand as a corporation, as a commission and NSAC, and as a UFC as a promotion, how that can make you look bad when you have fighters punching fans on their walkout. It's not the most professional thing to do. It definitely can make them look bad. So I don't really have much of an issue with the NSAC trying to sit down Arman Tsarukyan with holding his purse and giving him a nice little talk of why you shouldn't punch fans in your walkout. However, do I believe they shouldn't give Tsarukyan his fight money? No way. I think he still deserves his fight money and his fight pay. The guy, he came out, the guy who Arman Tsarukyan punched, or at least tried to punch, came out. He was fine. He was totally okay, made a whole tweet about it. He was actually kind of thankful, I guess. I don't know what the right word would be, but he was pretty unaffected by it. He had fun in the event. He had a great time. The punch didn't really ruin his day whatsoever. So Tsarukyan pretty much got lucky that day that he didn't punch a Karen and punch the most chill dude in the world. So he got lucky with that. But then again, he did get a bit unlucky with the NSAC coming after him for this, which I do believe he does deserve a small fine and just move on after that. Give him a little fine. That was a pretty dumb thing to do. Just fine him a little bit. I don't know how much money you should fine him though, but take a little bit of money from him and then just move on. Call it a day. You took away his purse. You're holding his money. I don't believe he deserves anything more than a small fine, and then y'all can move on. I think they were talking about him getting banned as well. If you ban Tsarukyan for this, that's pretty messed up, and I think you should not do that whatsoever. I think Tsarukyan still deserves to be active in the UFC and not banned for a one-off incident. I think overall Tsarukyan has been pretty well-mannered in his UFC career so far, besides maybe the Bobby Green incident where that wasn't really ever anything physical. It was just them trash talking and kind of intimidating Bobby Green. But other than that, Tsarukyan has been pretty a good boy in the UFC, to be weird about it and put it out in those terms. But I think overall Tsarukyan has been an upstanding UFC MMA fighter so far in his career. So I think anything other than a small fine is a bit too harsh and a bit stupid, because this is fighting. Who cares? It is what it is. But again, as a business, I do understand that you just can't have this stuff happening, especially on live TV. It's not a good look for them or for the UFC. So I do understand them punishing Tsarukyan for this, but Diego Lopes is one that I don't understand whatsoever. So the same thing is happening to Diego Lopes. They're withholding his purse, because of a way more dumb reason than Arman Tsarukyan. They're actually withholding Lopez's purse because he hopped the cage after he got a vicious knockout of Sadiq Youssef. This is what I don't understand, why they are withholding this guy's money, because he hopped the cage. We've seen so many fighters in UFC history hop the cage to give Dana White a handshake, to even give Donald Trump a handshake. We've seen so many fighters do backflips off the cage. We've seen so many things in the UFC, and none of them are getting fined. I'm pretty sure after every single Charles Oliveira title win, he's hopped the cage to give Dana White a handshake. I know for sure after Chandler, he hopped the cage, but we heard nothing about him getting fined or him getting punished. So every other commission has no issue with fighters hopping the cage to give Dana White a handshake, besides the Nevada State Athletic Commission, which is pretty dumb, pretty Karenish, pretty stupid, if I'm being honest with you. Like, in my opinion, I don't really know what this punishment even serves for Diego Lopez. Like, oh no, you hopped the cage, you're gonna hurt yourself. Like, they aren't fighting to the death in the middle of the octagon for 15, 25 minutes at a time. Like, I just don't understand, after getting a nice KO and winning a fight you've been training months for, hopping the cage and giving Dana White a handshake is a finable offense. I mean, even the NFL is a little bit more lenient when it comes to players hopping in the crowd. We see players get touchdowns in the NFL and they hop into the crowd, into the stands with people all the time, and there's absolutely no fine for that. But God forbid Diego Lopez hops the cage to give the fucking president of the UFC, Dana White, a handshake after he just won his fight by KO. This by far is one of the most dumb things I think an athletic commission has done in a very long time. It's baffling that they're doing this to Diego Lopez. He doesn't deserve this. He had a great win. Let him have his fun. Give him his money. We sit here and we complain about fighter pay all the time, and it's not the UFC, bro. It's the athletic commissions. They're the ones withholding their money for hopping the cage. Let's stop this bullshit. Let's get over with it. It's pointless to do this, really. All this does is pretty much prevent guys from hopping the cage in the future, which I guess is their goal, and maybe they will succeed at it. But again, what is so bad about them hopping the cage? It's literally them just giving their families and Dana White possibly a hug. That's literally it. There's no harm to it whatsoever. They're not hurting themselves. They're just hopping the cage, giving Dana White a hug, giving their families a hug, hopping back in, getting checked out. I do understand that it can be a little bit annoying for the guys who are trying to make sure the fighters are okay. Like, we do see some doctors go into the cage first thing and they ask the fighters okay if they have anything going on with them. The first thing the doctors do is check on the fighters. And so when you have a guy hopping the cage, it only prolongs that their job. But then again, do they deserve to have their purse withheld from them? No. Do they ban Diego Lopez for this? I don't really see it happening. Just give them a nice little talk. And this could have been over a phone call, man. You could have called Diego Lopez after the fight and been like, hey, this is so-and-so from the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Please don't hop the cage again. It's bad for this person or that person. So next time you're fighting in Nevada and you win, just don't hop the cage, please. Hang up the phone, end the discussion. I bet Lopez probably agrees with you and he understands enough English to figure that out. Or if not, he has some sort of translator. This could have been an email. This could have been anything else besides an actual meeting with him, withholding his money. This could have been a quick conversation with him. But no, we have to go to the extreme to prove a point to Diego Lopez about how cage hopping is so naughty and bad, and he's a bad person for doing this, and his money should be taken away forever, and he should go broke and be poor because he's a UFC fighter and their fighter pay is bad. I don't know. It's infuriating. That's pretty much it. Diego Lopez, Tsarukyan, I do feel bad for them. They should not get banned or have their purses withheld. Tsarukyan should get a small fine. That's it. Diego Lopez is completely innocent, and we need justice for Diego Lopez. If it comes out today, because Tuesday is their meeting, which is time this video being recorded, it is happening right now. So if it does come out that Diego Lopez and Arman Tsarukyan are having their pay gone, wiped away because of their actions, justice for them. And we should just move the UFC headquarters to like New York or maybe Cincinnati, where I'm from, because that'd be fun. But if I'm being honest here, that's probably what's not happening. They're probably just inviting them over and pretty much having an interview with them just to pretty much scold them and call them bad kids for what they did. And that's probably the extent of it. They might give Tsarukyan a fine. I don't know. Tsarukyan won't get the worst of it. I'll tell you that. But if they actually decide to go through with this and ban Tsarukyan and take away Lopez's money, there's issues. We got problems with the NSAC. You hear me? And problems mean issues with me, the big tough guy around here. I don't know. I'm out of here, guys. Like, subscribe, bell notifications. Peace.